Hello, grade 9 students. This is a continuation of our topic, graphs of quadratic functions. And I think this is part 3. Let us describe the graph of quadratic functions, or what we call the transformations of quadratic functions. What is transformation? Transformation in mathematics changes the position or size of a feature. There are 3 types of transformations. Number 1, translations, 2, dilations, and 3, reflections. What is a dilation? Dilation is a transformation that makes the graph narrower or wider than the parent graph. So we have learned from the previous session that if the greater the value of the absolute value of A, the narrower the graph, and the smaller the absolute value of A, the wider the graph, right? For example, if we have here y equals x squared compared to y equals 6x squared, which is narrower? The narrower is the one with the greater value of the absolute value of A, which is y equals 6x squared. So y equals 6x squared is narrower, while the graph of y equals x squared is wider. So that's what we call dilation. How about the reflection? Reflection flips a feature over the x-axis or y-axis. So parang mag-shape yan ng x. Kasi dalawang parabola. Reflection of each other. How about dilations? Okay, dilation. We have here the dilation. The graph of g of x equals ax squared is the graph of f of x equals x squared. Stretch or compress vertically. If the absolute value is greater than 1, the graph of f of x squared is stretched vertically. And if a absolute value of a is between 0 and 1, the graph of f of x equals x squared is compressed vertically. Yan. Compress pag between 0 and 1. Pero pag absolute value of a is greater than 1, it's stretched vertically. Describe, example number 1. Describe how the graph of d of x, which is in the blue parabola, is related to the graph of f of x equals x squared, which is the green parabola. Describe. So what's the answer? Since the value of a is between 0 and 1, 0 less than 1/3 less than 1, the graph of f of x equals 1/3 x squared is a vertical compression of the graph y equals x squared. And at the same time, since the greater mas greater ito, the greater yung value of f of x equals x squared than d of x, then f of x is narrower, di ba? Narrower. The lesser the value of 1/3, the lesser the value of a, which is 1/3, it is wider naman. Okay? Yan yung dilation. About this, describe the graph of m of x in green parabola equals 2x squared plus 1 is related to the graph of f of x equals x squared. Right? What? What's the answer? Since 1 is greater than 0 and 3 is greater than 1, the graph of y equals 2x squared plus 1 is stretched vertically and then translated up 1 unit. Alright. Since the value of a here in the function m of x is greater, which is 2, than compared to f of x equals x squared, then narrower na naman itong green. Narrower, mas wider yung blue, f of x. At the same time, di ba pag plus 1 dito, then it will be shifted or translated up 1 unit from the origin. Yun. It's narrower and it will be translated up 1 unit. Pag minus 1, it will be translated up, below 1 unit. Describe how the graph of n of x equals 2x squared is related to the graph of f of x equals x squared. What's your answer? This is narrower compared to f of x. Diba? What's your answer? A, B, C, or D? 5 seconds. The answer is C. N of x is stretched vertically from f of x. So I mean to say, it will become narrower. Describe how the graph of b of x equals 1 of x squared minus 4 is related to the graph of f of x equals x squared. Okay, as you can see, b of x has a smaller value of a compared to f of x. So when smaller, this will become wider. This will be wider than this, and at the same time, this will be translated 4 units down or below. Yan. Down. Which one? Units down. So dito up, dito down. So C is crossed out as the answer is only A, B, or D. Kasi lahat sila down. So what's your answer? The answer is B. B of x is compressed vertically and translated 4 units down from f of x. Now we proceed to reflections. Reflection is just like a mirror. So they're just like a x-axis the mirror. So we have here the graph of negative f of x is the reflection of the graph of f of x equals x squared across the x-axis, and the graph of f of negative x is the reflection of the graph of f of x equals x squared across the y-axis. Example 1. How is the graph g of x equals negative 3x squared plus 1 related to the graph of f of x equals x squared? 3 transformations are occurring. First, the negative sign causes a reflection across the x-axis. Then a dilation occurs where a equals 3, absolute value. So the greater the value of a, the narrower the graph. Yan, magiging thin. But since the negative sign siya, will cause a reflection. It will it will go down. And lastly, a translation occurs where h equals 1. So it will what? Yun. It will translation occurs plus 1, meaning it will move up 1 unit upwards. It will move 1 unit upwards, I should say. Yeah, that will be the graph. Narrower. There will be a reflection, and it will move up 1 unit. So g of x equals negative 3x squared is reflected across the x-axis, stretched by a factor of 3, meaning a little bit of narrower, and is translated up 1 unit because of plus 1. Describe how the graph of g of x equals 1 pip x squared minus 7 is related to the graph of f of x equals x squared. So since smaller, g of x has a smaller value of the absolute value of a, which is 1 pip compared to f of x, this will become wider. And also, since we have here minus 7, there will be a translation 7 units below. Diba? Yun. Since 1 pip is less than 1, I mean, so the graph is vertically compressed. It will become wider, and k equals negative 7. So therefore, the graph is translated down 7 units. I hope you can follow. Now, which is an equation for the function shown in the graph? Okay, it's it A, B, C, or D? 5 seconds. Time's up. What's your answer? As you can see, the parabola opens downward. So when the parabola opens downward, the value of a is negative. So it's either A or C only. We cannot accept B and D. So what's your answer? B, A or C? Okay, the correct answer is C, because it's translated 3 units upward from 0, or from the origin. 1, 2, 3, right? Whereas if it has minus 3, will be translated down 3 units. So for the summary, we have here, for the horizontal translation, h units to the right if h is positive, h units to the left if h is negative. K vertical translation, k units up if k is positive, absolute value of k units down, k is negative. We have reflection here. For the quadratic function, if a is greater than 0, the graph opens up. If a is less than 0, the graph opens down. For dilation, if the absolute value of a is greater than 1, the graph is stretched vertically, or it will become narrower. And if it's between 0 and 1, the graph is compressed vertically. Yan. Will become wider. Narrower naman pag greater than 1. So thank you very much for listening. This is part 3 of our lesson on graphs of quadratic function. Goodbye.